Okay, so time to get started. So, just to say, my name's Melanie, and it's a half-hour pranayama class. We won't be doing the pranayama for the whole half hour. We'll do a physical practice to warm up. It's going to be very gentle with the idea that we're opening up the body for breathing. So getting the rib cage moving a little bit for the psoas, which is connected to the diaphragm, so it can have an impact on our breath, and maybe some neck stretching as well. So just kind of gentle movement to get the body open for breathing. And then there's also a couple of acupressure points. I work quite a lot with the meridians and acupressure points. So they're points to open up the lungs to breathe. And then we'll go into our pranayama, which is V Vritti is the one that I'm doing. So V means not, and Vritti means equal. So it means it's an unequal breath. And we'll do it with a long exhale. So we'll breathe in for maybe a count of 4 and out for 6 or 8, something along those lines. And it's, I think, one of the really magical pranayamas, and it really can have quite a strong effect of calming. And there's a thing that happens when we breathe out. There's a substance. I always forget how to say this, but I think it's acetylcholine. Acetylcholine. I think I'm saying that wrong, but it's very, very similar to that. And it slows down the heart. So it slows the heart down and takes us into a very calm, relaxed state. So we'll do that pranayama for a while and then go into a meditation. Yeah, and you can do it lying down, which is another nice thing about it. So if you come to sitting, let's start sitting. If you're comfortable sitting on something, you can grab a cushion or a block or something like that. And we'll arrive in the space, arrive in your body, arrive in your breath. Just watching the breath for a moment. And then we'll start moving the rib cage. So if you press the rib cage gently out to the right, and then press it back behind you, and then pressing to the left, and then pressing forwards, and make that into a nice circle. So you're rotating the rib cage. And remember, the idea here is just to get the rib cage freed up so the breath can be really free and open. And you might find that your breath coordinates with the movement. So you might find an exhale as you go back and an inhale as you go forwards. Okay, and then changing direction. Okay, then coming into stillness, just feeling the stillness after the movement. And then reaching up with one of your arms, inhaling, exhaling, just touching down to the side, and then inhaling, swapping over, and exhaling, touching down to the other side. So focusing in a little bit more on the side of the rib cage. Okay, and then coming back up to the center. Again, just a moment of stillness after the movement. And then take your legs so that both of the feet point in the same direction and the knees point in the other direction. And your hand can go behind you and the other arm can reach up and over. And you can stay with this version of the shape, or if it feels good for you, you can lift the hips up and just gently press the hip forwards, reaching up with the top arm. And then coming down and swapping your legs over to the other side. Again, reaching up, choosing if you want to stay here with the hips down on the floor, or if you want to lift the hips up and just gently press forward. And then coming down. And then we'll come onto all fours. I'll just turn sideways so you can see. So rolling forwards with the knees under the hips, the hands under the shoulders. And cat-cow, so lifting the sit bones, lifting the chest as you inhale, and then arching the back up, letting the head relax down as you exhale. And following your own breath for a few breaths with cat-cow. And then you can turn the cat-cow into circling the rib cage. And then going back the other way. And then you can stay with the circling or maybe going into more free movement. Maybe shifting the hips from side to side. Maybe swimming a little bit with the shoulders. Going backwards with the hips towards the heels, and maybe going forwards with the hips towards the hands. Just exploring your body, seeing how it feels. Great. And then coming into stillness. Tenting your fingers up and stepping forward with your right foot and coming up. So here we're targeting the front of the hip. So if you tilt the hips back, so again you're pressing the tailbone forwards towards that front heel. And then we'll add a little bit of movement with the arms, so flowing the arms down and then opening out to the side. So exhaling as you go forwards, inhaling as you open the chest. And then the next time the arms are up, staying there, opening the chest, tilting the hips back, seeing if you can find that opening on the front of the hip. Okay, and then release. And we'll swap the legs over. So I always like to challenge my balance a little bit. So coming back to bring that knee and then stepping the other one forwards. Okay, and let's just go straight into the movement. So exhaling forwards, inhaling, opening. As you inhale and opening, tipping the hips back, flowing with the breath. And then the next time the arms are opening, staying there for a few breaths. Great. And then releasing that, tucking the back toes, lifting the back leg and popping yourself up to standing and rotating the arms. Okay, and then letting that come to stillness. And one more bit of movement, so bringing one arm forwards, the other back, and letting them swing forwards and back. Okay, and then give yourself a bit of a wiggle and shake, and then come to seated. So that was the little asana section I wanted to do, and we're following the kind of eightfold path here of going from asana to pranayama to meditation. So we're following the sort of classical yoga route. So just a little bit of acupressure point work to open up the breathing. So you can take, I like to use my middle fingers, and this is right at the very base of the nose. Maybe I'll come a bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. So it's right here where the nose kind of becomes the cheek, and we're just pressing in gently there. And that is large intestine 20, if you're interested. And we just breathe nice and slowly. Okay. And then the next one is bladder 2. And this is just in sort of the end of the eyebrows. You can find a little kind of dent there. So pressing into that dent there, just on the kind of the inside end of the eyebrows. Okay, releasing that. One more pressure point, and this is more, it takes everything down. So thoughts in your head and, energy, and it just brings everything down. This is one not to do if you're pregnant or if you're trying to get pregnant. It's contraindicated. And if that's the case for you, you can press the point in the center of the sole of your foot. So that's the alternative if you're pregnant or trying to get pregnant at the moment. If you're good to go, then from your ankle bone on the inside of your leg, you take one hand's width and then go just behind the shin bone there. So one hand's width and then just behind the shin bone. And that's spleen 6. And like I say, it's a great acupressure point for just bringing everything down. So if you ever find yourself with, head full of busy thoughts, that won't stop, then this is a great spot to help that. Okay, so releasing that, and let's get ready for our pranayama. So like I said, you can do this one lying down. So if you prefer to lie down, then go ahead and take that option. It can be nice to put a bolster under your knees, something soft under your head, really get yourself comfortable. If you're happy sitting up, then it's quite nice to sit on a cushion or a block and just get yourself in your comfortable position. And the usual kind of rules apply. You want the hips ideally to be higher than the knees, and if the knees are off the floor, you want them to be supported if you're choosing to sit. If you're choosing to lie down, then just get yourself comfy lying down. And we'll go for around about between 5 and 10 minutes, probably about 8 minutes for the pranayama. And then we'll go into 5 minutes of meditation after that. So that's my plan. If you're lying down, you might want to put your hands on your belly to feel the belly rising and falling as you breathe. I'll just wait for everybody to get settled and get comfy. Okay, so first of all, if you're comfortable closing the eyes, go ahead and close the eyes. If you'd rather keep the eyes open, then you can keep the eyes open, but it's nice to have a soft gaze, maybe down at the floor or something low down. That helps to keep the awareness coming inside. And first of all, just watching the breath exactly as it is. So without trying to change it, without trying to, make it anything other than what it actually is right now, just inviting the breath. And you might find as you watch the breath, it naturally lengthens and deepens a little bit. So just allowing that, watching that process. And maybe lengthening the exhale just a little bit. And then we invite the breath into the lower part of the rib cage. So you can maybe place your hands just on the lower ribs for a moment and breathe into that area. So when you breathe in, the rib cage lifts and gets a bit bigger. And as you breathe out, it relaxes back down again. And once you've got that action happening, you can bring the hands back down. That's called diaphragmatic breathing, when we're really emphasizing the area around the diaphragm. And it's a calming form of breath. It's very good for oxygenating the body because there's more blood at the lower part of the lungs. And it can take us into alpha brainwave states, the more daydreamy, more soft, meditative state of mind. And then if you know your ujjayi breathing, you might want to add a very soft ujjayi sound. If you don't know what that is, then don't worry about it. And then let's start with equal breath. So you can count your own breath, so you make it whatever length is comfortable for you. And breathe in for a count of 4 and out for a count of 4. So you make this practice however long is right for you. Breathing in and out for a count of 4. As slow and deep as it's comfortable. And then slowly and gradually start to lengthen your exhalation. So maybe you breathe in for 4 and out for 5, and do that for a few rounds. And maybe that will feel good for you. Or maybe you'll feel you want to lengthen the exhale a bit more and increase to in for 4 and out for 6. And just playing around with different ratios until you find one that feels good for you. And the maximum I'd suggest would be in for 4 and out for 8. But most people may be in for 4, out for 6. But just see what works for you. And remember, it should feel comfortable. It should feel good. And we'll go for 5 more minutes. And just see if you can make your exhalation really, really soft. And see if you can breathe in a way where you don't disturb the air that's around you. The breath is so soft and so subtle that you don't create any waves or ripples with your breath. And then as you breathe in, imagine that you're smelling a really beautiful smell and you're really savoring the smell. Maybe it's a flower or maybe something else that you really love the smell of. So really savoring the preciousness of the inhalation. Continuing for 1 more minute and resting in the space after the exhale. And then after your next exhalation, we'll stay with a slow, deep breath, but go back to equal breathing. So inhaling for your count of 4 and exhaling for 4. And then after your next exhalation, just going to normal, quiet breathing, gently breathing to your belly. Maybe softening your shoulders, softening the muscles in the face, and softening your belly. And take your awareness to your third eye. And if you like to visualize, you can maybe visualize a light shining there. Or if you're more on the feeling side of things, maybe you can feel a light. Or maybe you feel whatever sensations are there. They're just holding your awareness with your third eye for 2 more minutes. And then letting go of the focus in the third eye. And bring your awareness to your physical eyes. And taking a deeper breath in. And then as you exhale, gently blinking the eyes open. And inhale, bring the arms over the head. And exhale, bring your hands to your heart. And thank you so much.